Hello Mac users in ERG 301 and ATS 564. I am just here to show you today how you are going to use your Mac to connect to Chesapeake, the computer that we are using in this class. Chesapeake is a Linux computer. It's under my desk here in my home here in Indiana, and it is a Linux computer that you're going to be using to do your work. Now, if you are connecting to this computer named Chesapeake, all Linux computers have names, that's just its name, you are going to first, on your Mac, you're going to need to install an application called X11. You'll find it in the App Store. It should be free. It's actually used to be part of Mac OS, and now they make it so you have to download it separately. X11 is just a communication protocol for between Linux computers and clients like PCs and Macs and so on for their communication. In particular, it's for communication of graphics, so that like when you make a chart, a plot of time versus sun angle or something like that, it can bring that plot up on your screen. So you install that one time. Then it should all be taken care of once you have that one time done. Now the question is, what do you do every time? You're sitting down, it's time to do your homework or work on your project or whatever. How are you going to do that? Well, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to launch the terminal. Terminal is a program that just brings up a command line in Mac. Terminal is under, if you go into your application, it's what's the right word on a Mac? The Finder. You go into the Finder, you go into Applications, and then go into Utilities, you'll find Terminal. And when you bring up Terminal, you're going to just get something that looks a bit like this. It's just a window with a command line you can type words on and so on. It actually is very much a Linux or Unix kind of thing, and that is suggestive of the fact that that's where Mac OS X came from. Mac OS X is really pretty much a copy of Unix, actually, that has just been modified to look like an Apple product, but it is not far from Unix. Alright, so you're going to command line. Your prompt is going to say something different than this, but once you are there and you're ready to log into Chesapeake, okay, your prompt will say something different. What you're going to write here is SSH space -y, and it has to be a big capital Y, SSH -y, and then your login. This information is, by the way, on this document that you have available to you as well on Blue Line. Alright, so SSH -y, and then your login, which will be your NetID and then the name of my computer as it is seen by the outside world. So like my account is actually Student 315, because I'm using my account from my ATS 315 class, now, the name of my computer from the outside world is shrugyj.ddns.net. That's a complicated story as to why exactly the name is that. It has to do with the fact that is, on the outside world, that is the name of my internet service provider that provided the name, and it had to be your login. So if I thought it through, I would have chosen the name Chesapeake as my login, so that this would have looked a little more sense. But shrugyj, my last name and my first initial, .ddns.net. So you'll log in with SSH space -big Y space, and then your create NetID, ABC12345 or whatever yours is, at shrugyj.ddns.net. Again, from the outside world's point of view, Chesapeake's name is shrugyj.ddns.net. Its real name, like in terms of how it was set up, is Chesapeake, because my computers are always named after bodies of water, but that's another story. Alright, so you'll log in. Now you'll hit enter to log in. Now the first time you do this, you'll actually see a slightly different screen here. It's lying here. It'll say, this is the first time you've made a connection to this machine. Do you want to continue? And you'll type yes or whatever, or Y, whatever the response is. Then they'll want to know your password. Now, the first time you log in, you'll use that temporary password that I emailed you. But I will go ahead. I mean, after that, I may have misspelled my password here. Let me try it. Yes, I'm in. Okay. Obviously you won't see your password as you're typing it, because that's, a security problem. The first time you type it in, you'll be using your temporary password, but then after that, I can't remember if I have it set up by default. It will demand, before you get into the computer, it'll demand that you need a new password, or whether it will just sit here waiting for you to make a choice. Because now you're on Chesapeake. You are entering commands that appear on this computer, 600 miles from where you're sitting, or more, depending on where you are. If it doesn't demand that you need a new password, you need a new password anyway. The command in Linux to change the password is PASSWD. PASSWD will start the process of changing your password. type PASSWD and hit enter. See, it's a command line interface. I just type commands and they happen. And it'll walk you through the process. It'll, ask you to enter your temporary password, then give it, I think it'll call it your old Unix password or something like that. And then it'll say enter your new password, and then it'll ask you to do it again and stuff like that. But then you'll be in, and you are on Linux. I mean, you're in a Linux computer, namely Chesapeake. And as you watch the videos about like basics of working with Linux, you'll find out things like how to make lists of the files that you have available, and how to copy files and move files and stuff like that. With time, you'll be learning how to make your own files, your own programs by later in the next lecture, and then pretty soon you'll be writing octave programs and making diagrams, and it's all going to be beautiful. There's one more thing I need to show you though, and that is, how do you know if this X11 part is working? How do you know if graphics is working and Chesapeake can actually produce graphs on your screen? This is Chesapeake's screen. The question is, can it make a graph on your screen? And the way you do that is a stupid little toy program that's on every distribution of Linux that's out there called Xeyes. X-E-Y-E-S. And it is a program that purely demonstrates that X11 is set up correctly and working on your computer. You just type Xeyes and hit enter. And in this case it brought them up over here, but someplace on the screen there should be these googly eyes that are watching your mouse of all stupid things. It is a completely worthless, stupid toy program, but Xeyes actually does demonstrate something important. For that to be working on your computer, hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away from Chesapeake, is an astonishing thing, right? It means that Chesapeake and your computer are sharing information, like they know where your mouse is on the screen, right? Because it can follow the mouse. And like it has some level of transparency, so yeah, you can see the window behind it as it moves. And I'm trying to think, there's other things you can make it do. Meanwhile, Chesapeake is able to draw these things on your screen. I mean, that's all kind of an amazing thing. So if Xeyes can work, you're ready to go. When Octave wants to draw a graph on your screen, it's going to be able to do it. Or whatever other things are going to happen along the way. Alright, how do you get out of Xeyes? You click over here on the terminal window where you are logged into Chesapeake, and you hit Control-C. In general, in Linux and Unix operating systems, how to stop something is Control-C. So, hitting Control-C killed the Xeyes process, is no longer running over here before. Hey, you're done. You want to get off of Chesapeake. Don't just, I don't know, turn your computer off or something like that. First type exit. Exit will log you out of Chesapeake and bring you back to your prompt. Notice it says like connection to shruggyj.ddns.net closed, and now you are done. Alright, in my case it still says shruggyj at Chesapeake because I'm actually on Chesapeake at the moment, but yours will look different. It'll say something about your Mac. Okay, I think you have everything that you need. I don't actually have a Mac here for testing these things, but I'm guessing yours will look pretty much the same as that. I'll make sure this handout is available to you, and please let me know if you have any questions. This has been Dr. John Shruggy.